01. The art of war. Secret. 02. The idea of knowing while being unknown repeated again and again as a key to success, is one of the strangest links between mediation and the art of war. 03. For the secret to this art of invisibility is precisely the interior detachment cultivated by attaining impersonal views of objective reality. 04. Certain of the philosophical practical codes for exercises used in personal cultivation. 05. Understand in the practical aspect of philosophical teaching helps to cut through the sense of paradox that may be caused by seemingly contradictory attitude. 06. Calmly learning the ruthless art of war while condemning war may seem contradictory if this fact is seen outside the context of the total understanding of the human mentality gathered by learning. 07. The simultaneous appreciation of very different points of view is a powerful technique, whose understanding can resolve contradiction and paradox. 08. The model of the paradox can be seen in both ruthlessness and kindness are part of the way. 09.
Heaven
and earth are not humanistic. Regard myriad beings and people as straw dogs, something with too little substance to provide support in a crisis. This passage has unleashed a monster if misunderstood. The statement does not represent inhumanity but an exercise in objectivity, having actual existence or reality, similar to exercises in impersonality, showing no emotion or personality. Having no personal reference or connection. Not responsive to or expressive of human personalities. 10. In modern term, this statement owes no different form that of a psychologist or sociologist making the observation that the attitude, thoughts, and expectations of entire nations are not arrived at purely by a multitude of independent rational decisions, but largely under the influence of environmental factors beyond the control of the individual or even the community. 11. The classic attests the place of such an observation in the art of war in not to cultivate a bloodthirsty attitude, but to understand the power of mass psychology. The science that deals with mental processes and behavior. The emotional and behavioral characteristics of an individual, a group, or an activity. 12. Understanding how people can be manipulated through emotions, for example, is as useful for those who wish to avoid this as it is for those who wish to practice it. 13. Seen in this light, the art of was is more a call to arms than a study on conditioning is a recommendation for slavery. By so thoroughly analyzing the political, psychological, and material factors involved in conflict, the professed aim was not to encourage warfare but to minimize and curtail it. 14. An impersonal view of humanity as not the master of its own fate may be necessary to liberate a warrior from emotional entanglements that might precipitate irrational approaches to conflict, but is not in the scheme of things, held to justify destructive behavior. The counterbalance to this view is also found in the teachings. 15. I have 3 treasures that I keep and prize, one is kindness, second is frugality, practicing or marked by economy, as in the expenditure of money or the use of material resources. Costing little, inexpensive. Third is not presuming to take precedence over others. To take for granted as being true in the absence of proof to the contrary. To give reasonable evidence for assuming, appear to prove. To venture without authority or permission, dare. To act overconfidently, take liberties. To take unwarranted advantage of something, go beyond the proper limits. To take for granted that something is true or factual, suppose. 16. By kindness one can be brave. 17. By frugality one can reach out. 18. By not presuming to take precedence one can survive effectively. 19. If one give up kindness and courage, gives up frugality and breadth and gives up humility for aggressiveness, one will die. 20. The exercise of kindness in battle leads to victory. 21. The exercise of kindness in defense leads to security. 22. Military action is like a fire, which burns itself out if not stopped. If the strategy of success without conflict was not always attainable, the strategy of hyper-efficiency could at least minimize senseless violence and destruction. 23. Success is often gained by not doing, and the strategy is as much knowing what not to do and when not to do it as it is in knowing what to do and when to do it. 24. The art of not doing, which includes the unobtrusiveness, unknownability, and ungraspability as the core of esoteric, intended for or understood by only a particular group of or relating to that which is known by a restricted number of people. Confined to a small group. Not publicly disclosed, confidential. Marital arts belong to the branch of the science of essence, the intrinsic or indispensable properties that serve to characterize or identify something. The most important ingredient, the crucial element. The inherent, unchanging nature of a thing or class of things. An extract that has the fundamental properties of a substance in concentrated form. B. Such an extract in a solution of alcohol. C. A perfume or scent. One that has or shows an abundance of a quality as if highly concentrated. 25. The art of doing, which include the external techniques of both cultural and martial arts, belong to the branch of the science of life. 26. The science of essence. The intrinsic or indispensable properties that serve to characterize or identify something. The most important ingredient, the crucial element. The inherent, unchanging nature of a thing or class of things. An extract that has the fundamental properties of a substance in concentrated form, has to do with state of mind. 27. The science of life has to do with use of energy. The capacity for work or vigorous activity, vigor, power. A. Exertion of vigor or power. B. Vitality and intensity of expression. A. Usable heat or power. B. A source of usable power, such as petroleum or coal. Physics. The capacity of a physical system to do work. 28. Balance of essence and energy is true and complete understanding. 29. Having force with intelligence would be called studying the science of life without the science of essence, material development without corresponding psychological development. 30. The Monkey King in the story exercised power without wisdom, disrupting the natural order and generally raising hell until he ran into the limits of matter where one is finally trapped.